unusual hour for me to be streaming, because normally this is like my bedtime, normally this is like my work time. And normally by now I'd be at work. Now, the main reason that I'm not at work is because, well, they switched my shifts. They had me come in for first. So I just wanted to kind of remind everybody where we're at right now in our current playthrough of Fallout 4. We have numerous weapons. We have a pre-war house. It's pretty established. It's pretty based, honestly. Clearly we also have some skill points that we can spend. However, I want to spend them quite wisely. Settlement building, in my opinion, is so just lame. Like, I'm not really into settlement building. I always end up, like, putting, like, maximum 175 effort into, like, a single building, and then that'll be it. You know, I don't really ever focus too much on doing multiple projects over time. But for me personally, I gotta say, I've started building a warehouse. I have 2 warehouses here in the Commonwealth here. So, here's my setup. I kind of built this. It's not effective by any stretch of the imagination. As a matter of fact, I would even go as far as to argue that this is a very ineffective warehouse for general use. I just did not collect enough resources. But that being said, what did I do correctly? Clearly I've put some resources in here. It's not enough to manufacture a weapon, like an actual, gun or anything yet, but we will get there. We will definitely get there at some point. I might be switching jobs pretty soon in real life. Same pay, so it's not competitive, it's pretty much equal. But the drive time, the drive distance from the job to where I live is significantly less distance. So, then we got this little warehouse that we put together. I would say we should just drop all of that and put it into, So we got 2 aluminum cans. Oh no, we have 1 aluminum can, which gives us 2 aluminum. We got 2 steel from the blowtorch and an oil. Bone cutter gives me 2 gear. That's useless. 2 gear. 2 gear, 2 screw, and 2 steel. Steel, oil, and gold. Screw. 2 gear, wood, and spring. Hot plate gives us circuitry, copper, and screw. We're taking the hot plates out of there. Those hot plates could be better utilized. The typewriter though, 3 gears, 2 screws, and 3 springs. 1 steel, 1 oil. I have 4 wonder glues, which are worth 2 adhesive, so that's 8 adhesive, and a wrench for 2 steel. So if we look at what we can manufacture here, the 10mm pistol requires 3 adhesive, 3 adhesive, 1 gear, 2 oil, 5 steel. We might need to grab more steel because we have every other component, it seems. Realistically. Like, I hate to be that guy. And I've been up for more than 24 hours, guys. So I'm officially like tired. Like I really don't have the energy to continue going on with this, but I'm gonna force myself to. Not for any particular reason, but more or less just the fact that I wanted to get some gameplay in before I end up kicking the can.
Hey there. You look like someone who could use a talk. Man's best friend.
You've got a deal.
Oh, yeah. You sure? I mean, she's a great girl.
Uh-huh.
I just don't want to sell her.
I'll take good care of her. Don't worry.
Yeah, okay. You look like you won't need anything. So, you going anywhere?
Is there any paperwork you need me to fill out first? A list of references?
I'm not really sure what you're talking about, but I think you're making fun of me. Which is fine. I get that all the time. I guess I'm not very good at selling dogs, but I just need a straight answer. Do you want to buy or not?
Yes. I really want to buy your dog.
Okay. But you have someplace for her to live, right?
Of course, Sanctuary Hills.
I guess that'll have to be okay. Okay, girl. This is your new home. He's gonna give you a new home. Go on now. You be a good girl. Bye-bye. I gotta go. You take care of her, all right?
To you, that doesn't seem old. To me, archaeological problem. This place would elicit fear in most individuals. Fortunately, my training prevents me. Wait.
That's it.
Welcome to Sandy Cone's Convalescent Home.
Uh-huh.
How may I help you?
I'm checking in. My family filled out the paperwork earlier.
I'm afraid I am unable to process your request this time. Welcome to Sandy Cone's
This place would
How may
elicit
I
fear
help
in
you?
most individuals.
I'm checking in.
Fortunately,
My family
training
filled out the
prevents me.
paperwork earlier.
I'm afraid I am unable to Have a nice day. Hello there.
These robots are completely ignoring the fact that their charges have passed away. They must have a fault in their programming.
Hell yeah.
Sir?
Why is it so quiet in here? I don't like this.
Perfect.
Finding a quiet spot in the Commonwealth is a rare occurrence.
Good day to you.
Obviously been abandoned for quite some time.
More visitors. Welcome to Sandy Cove's convalescent home.
By order of the Institute, must be destroyed. Attacking enemy by order of the Institute. Must be destroyed. Deploying melee tactics. Life signs detected. Hostile sensor reading detected. Is someone present? Hello.
Didn't you hear me coming?
Hostile platform to receive. Protocol. Minimal distance. Damn, nope.
Going to slow us down.
Can't pick this. Don't have the key.
he's come out.
Hey.
Where do you want me? Switching out your gear?
Yep.
If you're renting a one bedroom to where you're actually saving for your down payment, that's going to be the other opposite route, right? So right
Yep.
now, 3240 Gracemore, you're
Yep.
renting at that address?
Yep.
Got it, okay. So what I'll do then, let me get you from there, you'll be able to make that decision, okay?
Gotcha.
Alright, one moment.
I'm on the phone with the realtor.
Hey, how's it going? Contract for you. Give me the bank up you out today.
Hi, I was inquiring about the process of like owning a home. What would be an ideal income to own a home in today's housing market?
That's a loaded question, man. What size home do you want to own?
Something small. I only live by myself. I would ideally like a 2-bedroom house with like a garage. Square foot wise, probably somewhere in like the, I don't know. I'd say probably like the 900 to 1,000 square foot.
And where you thinking, Dayton, Ohio?
The Dayton area for sure. Huber Heights, in that general like area.
Alright, so you said 2 bed, one and a half bath, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, you got a lot of options out in Dayton in that price range. Or not price range, but with those standards. I mean, you got 3 bed, 1 bath, 864 square feet for not 100,000 or 99.9. I mean, you got a decent amount of options there.
Gotcha.
I guess desired income really comes down to, I mean, there's quite a bit. Oh, that's a good house too at 125. I mean, it comes down to your debt to income ratio. There's quite a bit that goes into it there. Let me get something pulled up here as well. What was your time frame to buy? You want to buy sooner, later? What were you thinking?
Probably since I'm a little later, I want to clean up my credit a little bit. Both my cars are paid off, so my debt to income ratio is pretty solid. So I don't currently owe anything. But I've lost a lot of credit by not using credit cards and stuff like that. And I have fallen behind on credit card payments, which have like affected my credit negatively. So I would like to rebuild my credit, ideally, but I have been renting for just over a year. I'd say I'm almost there at 2 years. In about another 2 months, I'd be on my own for 2 years, renting.
What's your current address you're at?
The current ad the rent was $890, and now they're raising it to $1,075 a month. Yeah, so like, with like the amount of money that I'm paying, that I would be paying, I'm hoping to move out into another like, I was hoping to rent a house or something, because really space is what I'm looking for. Just a lot of people in general have like specified that my income basis is not enough to actually own a home in today's job market, in today's housing economy. I make about $35,000 a year before overtime and anything else like that. The only other way I've diversified my income per se is like through door dashing. So.
Let's take a look at everything as well. I mean, obviously you want to raise up your credit score, you said too.
Yep.
No issue there. I got a credit upgrade team here that's complimentary, depending obviously depends where your score is at. If you're say,
Yep.
hey man, you gotta pay this off and this off, and you source it off as well. Or it might just be as simple as, hey, you just gotta open up a new secure credit card, bump your score 20 to 30 points.
Yeah, I was a 710 for a little while there, and unfortunately, like living on my own, you know, like the actual cost of living. So my job is about 50 minutes away to an hour drive each day, and so with the rising prices of gas and the rising costs of food and all my very limited income, it's been an extreme struggle to live on my own. So I had to use my credit cards to buy food, and paying them back on time with my other bills was very difficult. So I've fallen greatly behind. Again, both my cars are paid off. I own two cars and they're both paid off. So my technical debt to income ratio, the credit cards didn't even max out to be a lot. One of them's like 500, the other's 300. So I mean, like, what little debt I do have is like, I'm able to pay that off, and it will be paid off pretty soon. So
What do you do for work right now?
I'm currently a security guard.
Been there, done that. Been there, done that, man. How do you like doing that?
It's all right. Like, the work is pretty solid. There's only a few ways to move up career-wise, like to be an armed security guard or to be assigned to like transportation. Personal security is probably where it's really at, but unfortunately, there's no high-value people in Ohio. I'm not saying that there's not important people that live here, but not to the degree that would pay for security into that capacity to where those opportunities would be readily available. At least not without prior military or law enforcement experience.
Yeah, how big are you, man?
What do you mean?
How big are you, like, height, weight-wise?
I am 6'1".
What got you into security?
Well, I mean, security work is just it's pretty simple, really. You're not a cop, but at the same time, you're just there to observe and report, right? Like, it's a very simple process, and it's actually a decent stepping stone into a career like law enforcement. Obviously, the administrative side of things, because you don't have the ability to detain people necessarily, but you do have a lot of, like, writing reports, filling out field notes, writing statements, and a lot of that administrative stuff. So, like being a cop, a lot of it, unfortunately, like, it's not like the TV shows. It's not, a lot of it's paperwork. A lot of it's getting the correct credentials and information, like making sure that somebody's identification card matches the vehicle registry. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of that kind of stuff. So,
When I was at Michigan State, I worked I was a security manager at the bar. I was there for 5 years. And then I did private security as well, some armed security, and then I also did, I had like private party. So I had quite a few clients out there as well. So I worked with a security company that obviously I worked at the bar, security manager, and then I had my final stuff on the side I would do. So that was fun, man. It was a good time. I almost went out. And then when I graduated, I was like, I can't do this anymore. So I had to pass the rain.
yep. Yeah, it's there's a lot to it. It's definitely not it's not a field for everybody. Some people, again, they can't handle high stress situations, decision making, and vice versa. But you learn a lot of great skills in security. But
I mean, definitely just learning how to talk to people, man. The art of de-escalation is something not a lot of people know. But that was great, man. Private security has good money in it too. I love doing private security. That was great. And then like obviously like, everything else is cost. But the armed security I wasn't too big on. It was fine, but it wasn't my cup of tea. I mean we never had like any too big of problems. We had a few situations where it got a little hectic, but besides that it wasn't.
well, part of the issue with armed security, right, is that, like, any incident can turn into a deadly one really quickly, and so there's a lot of that stress makes decision making. But the way that I view it as a gun owner, I'm less likely to get into a physical or verbal altercation of when I'm carrying. Because again, any altercation can become a deadly one. I'm less prone to going out drinking. I'm less prone to doing stupid shit. It's just common sense, and it's just some people in my generation lack that. Some people in the world lack that. It's not even. There's just dumb people across the world. You know what I mean? So that's why That's why security and policing is a real thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
So.
especially with like armed security too, is like it's the thing on the fly is like when I was doing it, I was working from a not so great area. And I was like, man, this isn't worth it. This is really one of those things where it is not worth it. I got paid for it, but this is not worth it. We had a few incidents. Like, you know what? I'll go back to doing private security. Yeah, make more money than that anyway.
Yeah.
Get all the training in the world, but yeah.
Yeah, for the current pay rate of $16.56 an hour, being responsible for a patrol vehicle, which is owned by the company, and that includes doing vehicle reports before and after, you're done when you're using it, and after you're using it. The fact that we're responsible for the fire system, we're responsible for obviously monitoring CCTVs and access control badges. There's so much in it. Obviously monitoring contractors, so that includes roof access. Obviously doing hot work permits, because if they're doing any kind of grinding or any kind of welding or anything like that, we have to put our fire system on test, so that way if the hot work that they're doing ends up triggering the fire system, it won't dial to the local fire department. You know what I mean? It'll just dial to our corporate security.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's
1656 for security.
Yep, that's how much I'm currently making. So like I said, my income's very limited, so making it on my own has been kind of a struggle.
Oh yeah, no, I got you. We got to talk about a raise for you. I know what you got to do, man. They don't pay you enough for what you have to do.
Yep.
No issue there. How long you been doing it for?
I've been doing security for about 3 years.
About 30 years. And you said base is 34. Then what's your pay with overtime typically?
It's time and a half, so it'd be about $24 an hour, I think.
Not bad. So I guess what you gross on your W-2 last year?
My gross on my W-2 came out to be $39,000 because I do a lot of overtime. I did a lot of 56-hour weeks. I volunteer a lot. And that's just the price I have to pay. But with the 50-minute drive, with how much I'm spending on gas and how much I'm making, it's becoming a very limiting factor. I'm blessed to have paid off my cars so that, I don't have any debt, because it makes basic survival virtually impossible.
Yeah, what type of cars do you have?
I have a 2015 Camaro, and I have a 2015 Ford Explorer.
Perfect. And then for assets saved up right now, I know we're looking out a little bit now. What did you have saved up for the purchase? What were you hoping to have saved up?
I don't have very much. I have enough to a security deposit for renting. I know, like, buying a home is like the objective here. I just don't think it's within my reach currently. But then again, that would be a question I'd have for you. What would you think would be an appropriate amount saved up? Like 10%, 8%?
Yes and no. Probably around either, like 6 to 8%. Try to guess. Let me see. Let me see if there's any down payment assistance programs out in Ohio that I know of. Hamilton, home of the West. Where's that out of? Lucas County. No idea where that is.
Lucas County, I think that's like northeast.
Toledo. Yeah, it's like Toledo.
Oh, so it'd be more like, yeah, that's pretty far.
And then you're near Columbus, so that
I noticed that like the Troy and Covington area is becoming a little bit pricey.
Trying to, gotta see, I gotta look at my map and see where Dayton is, just in,
It's like central. It's like south central of Ohio is how I would describe it almost. You know, because like it. You know, obviously
work in Dayton?
negative. I work in Troy.
Let me look at Troy Homes. Do you live in Dayton right now?
Like I live in Kettering. So yeah, basically. I mean, it's right next to Dayton.
I gotcha. Let me check. Price range of homes. Where's Piqua, Ohio at? I don't even know where that is, but we're in.
I think Piqua like just north of Troy. It's very close, actually.
Yeah, you'd want. I was looking at Piqua. There's a couple homes out there. 110,000, two bed, one bath. 125,000, two bed, one bath. 106,000, two bed, one bath. Let me make sure these things aren't being gutted on the inside.
Yeah, that's always
It
a.
makes no sense. It makes no sense for you to buy where you're at if you have to drive 50 miles.
Another
I mean,
day
if
in the
we're
Commonwealth.
being honest here,
Yeah.
if you're driving 50 minutes a day, it makes no sense.
Yep.
But this house right here, three bed, one bath, 120,000. Honestly, the big thing is right now we'd have to see like, okay, well, how much gotta get saved up, this, that, and other. I guess right now, what do you have saved up? If you were to buy, say you were to buy next month, what would you have saved up?
If I were to buy next month, I'd only have like $3 grand.
Okay. And then if you were to buy in 3 months, how much would you have saved up?
That's tough to say because I don't know how. Because here's the thing, my rent's. I'm gonna clear my throat. So my rent's going from $890 to $1,075, right? So I've already made it through my first lease, and that would be renting month to month. With that current rate,
Yeah.
with that,
Can your parents give you a gift? How's everything move there? Do you have any family members that would be willing to give you a gift to help you move in?
that's a tall order. I wouldn't want to ask anything of my mom. She's in her 60s, and I'm trying to be less reliant on her in general. Because again, you know, like she's reaching that retirement age where she's got to stop doing what she's doing. You know, every little bit counts. And my dad died a few years ago, so you know, like it's that's gonna probably be a no-go. Honestly, man, my only solution if I were to do anything serious into like accelerating any process, joining the Navy, you know, getting an enlistment bonus would probably be the only.
Yeah, you got that too. I mean, you got one more option too. Sell the Camaro. We don't want to do that. Actually, if you join the Navy though, you can get another one. If you join the Navy, man, you can get another Camaro.
Yeah, unfortunately the Camaro's not going anywhere anytime soon.
I gotcha.
And I only say that because to me it's not even like a car, you know. It's like a part of me I can't let go, you know. I don't know how to describe it. It's like a friend it's like a girlfriend that never bitches, you know. It's just such a perfect thing, you know. It's always there for me when I need it. It's never done me wrong. It's an awesome vehicle. That's my daily driver, so that makes me my money. It's decently reliable. It's got a lot of space. I could realistically sell it and get something like more gas efficient, but it's paid off. So I mean, Yeah, I think any 1990s Ford F-150 is a pretty solid all-around car. Some people don't like the 90s cars. That's on them, but yeah, I owned a yeah, some people aren't a fan of them because they're older, but I personally I prefer the 90s OBS body style for the Ford F-150s, especially the 98s. I mean, those are just very, very well-built vehicles in terms of like reliability and such.
My buddy has a 79 OBS 350. So he's got a unit one. Mine's a 2010. I wish I would have went with the older one, but at the same time, I mean the old one's probably more reliable. For being honest.
Time you want me to carry some of that
I
gear bucket?
need something else. So I went with I got 2010 F-150, and I bought a Range Rover as well.
Well, remember in the 70s they used zinc as the frame material, so it would never rust. It's impervious to rust. So I mean, you know, in that sense, yeah, your frame's going to be great. Your engine, you can always swap that for something more modern, more efficient. I mean, you know, the options are really limitless if your mechanical prowess is there. If not, you know what I mean. If you got to pay somebody to do it, then it can be a very tall order to ask for all that, because that's just a lot of work, a lot of shop time, and at that point, it's like putting all that into like a car that's already like vintage and expensive and good condition. It might not even be worth it because you're going to lose a lot of that collector's value doing that. So, I mean, there's a lot to consider with the car market, but you know, I mean, I didn't even really want the Camaro at first. I actually got a 2004 Mustang GT, but the frame was rotted out, and I had to fight the dealership tooth and nail just to get my money back. And then again, you know, like, yeah, it was bad, and I should have, you know, on my part, for accountability purposes, I should have had the vehicle properly inspected. But I mean, you know, I'm not going to pay 14 grand cash, you know what I mean, on a car that has a rotted out frame. That was a huge problem in my opinion. Now if I paid like 3 or 4 grand for it, no big deal, you know, it would suck ass, but I would scrap it for parts, I'd make my money back, it would have been the end of it, but I paid like 11.6, and
My buddy has, not my buddy, my brother has, is a C7 Grand Sport Stingray Corvette. That thing is so fast. That thing ripped.
yeah, very very light. The weight, the power to weight ratio on the Corvettes, especially the C7s, are just. I mean, it gives you a very unfair advantage in comparison to most other sports cars. But yeah, I mean, I could talk all day about cars, but the housing market today. What do you think the rates are going to look like in the next 5 months? Like, do you think they're going to go down?
They'll go down, I think, but I can't tell you. I'll be honest, I'm not a fortune teller. If I was a betting man, though, I'd say they go down. Everything going on in the world right now is, you know, great, though.
Well, with
Give it 5, 6 months, probably get knocked down a little bit.
Well, with the current war in the Middle East, we can obviously project more people, more Americans, especially with our involvement in the war. If it continues, more people will die, more homes become available. I know that's horrible to look at it that way. The other thing, too, is, you know, location and other stuff like that. With the deportations, you know, our population rating is probably going to rebalance probably in the next 7, 8 years. But who knows what the economy will look like in that time, so it's hard to say.
Yeah, that's how I look at it, man. Once you can afford to get into a home, that's the best time to get into a home. So if you gotta save a little bit more, obviously, yeah, go for it. I'm on the same page there. But definitely let's do a soft credit pool. Take a look where your credit's at. Not have an impact on your score. Then where it's at, I can probably get you my credit upgrade team as well and see if we can help.
I can actually tell you where my credit's at with like full honesty, and like I said, I'll be very honest with you. My credit's around a 546 now. It's pretty. I get my credit straight through my credit union, which is the Day Air credit union.
Which score is that? Is that your Experian, your FICO, or
That'd be my TransUnion.
Perfect. Yeah, I'd say still say we take a look, do a soft credit pull. It's not going to have an impact on your score. So we take the middle of your three scores. So as long as your middle score is 560 or above, I can get you over my credit upgrade team. So, and if not, you'll at least know where all three scores are at, which I can give you a little bit of guidance on what to work with if I was in your shoes. But full transparency, I'm not a licensed credit expert. Take everything I say with a little bit grain of salt, but I've seen it enough where I can at least give, from my perspective, if I was basing off what I would do.
Gotcha. I was hoping that, like I said, I'm planning on moving jobs. Like I said, you know, buying a home, there is a lot to really consider. Homeowners insurance, HOA fees. I don't want to be in an HOA, but I mean, God, you just never know, man. In today's world, the other big key factor is like bills, right? So when I'm renting, I'm not having to pay, you know, water, or gas, and electric, and all these other, you know. Well, I do pay electric, but you know, I mean, like I'm not having to pay all the other fees included, as well as homeowners tax, or what's it called, property taxes. So, you know, when it comes to, yeah, and I got to be able to file that on, like, yeah, there's a whole lot that goes into it. So when it comes down to it, you know, like owning a home sounds great. I just want to kind of know where I should be at to where I could realistically own and maintain that home. You know, if all goes well, you know, either I find a job that can get me closer to the $42,000 to $45,000 a year income bracket's what I'm aiming for, and I know it's not much better, but I mean, like it's something, and it would be able to provide me with more money to save for a down payment, for immediate home repairs, a home inspection, you know, because, you know, a house could look great, but if the wiring's messed up and, you know, God forbid, you know, like you might have to put a new roof on there or new HVAC system, those things cost money, and if you're spending all your money on just a down payment and with no emergency plan, I mean, that financially it's just not a secure move in my eyes. I mean, getting a home is a secure move, but you know what I mean? If it costs everything you got, I just don't see that as being a viable option for someone in my income bracket with no college education.
I mean, yeah, let's be on the same page. So it's costing you everything you got right now to drive to work every day and stay in the apartment you're in. So what's the difference?
The difference is I have a roof over my head currently. If I have to, like, go into debt into that degree, like it might be the end of me in all honesty.
Yeah, so this is the main thing. Well, you are going into debt with a car. You are going into debt with student loans. You're going into debt with a handful of assets that year by year outperforms almost every hedge fund. Year by year, your home gains in value. An asset is not a liability. So,
Most people are doing great.
solid home, that's the thing you gotta look through. So, if I need a new roof, that's what inspections are for. You do these walkthroughs to point through all these things that could be going south, and then you negotiate that into the purchase price of the home. So, you negotiate that in and make them cover those repairs. When you're going in off rent, you know exactly where you're gonna be at. So, I got a quick calculation right now, just off the top of my head. I mean, if you're looking at a $110,000 home at 3.5% down, you're probably going to be looking around $900 a month, depending on where your principal or your taxes and insurance come. I mean, I'm sure you'll have private mortgage insurance on there as well, which on a home that size is probably only $30-40 a month. So you might be looking around $900 a month, but it's still going to be better than where you're at.
Yeah.
I mean, I get the concern. I'm with you, man. Hey, always have a little bit for a reserve. But if your choice is, if it's my decision, would I rather live penny to penny in an apartment where I'm paying the same amount, but if I just owned a house, I got to pony up, put a little bit more money down? Yeah, I'm taking the house all day because that's the day I can sell that. I can get money out of it. If I make one little repair, I make the house look a little bit better. Okay, now I have more.
Yeah, you get more equity. Yep.
But if you do that with an apartment, you want to take the
Yeah, I
What do you
mean,
want to talk about?
I would probably be able to get the best rates and probably be able to negotiate a far better deal in a much more like reasonable area than say like Dayton. Because like let's be honest, like obviously if you're gonna live in Dayton, area matters a lot for property value.
Yeah, that's it right now. I would. I mean, if you go Navy, yeah, that's Dayton. But if you're staying with your current job, I go closer to work.
Yeah,
Because now you got to think about, let me look at it like this. Okay, now I'm paying the same amount. Say my rate goes up, or my bump goes up in Navy. Whether it's a little bit cheaper or the exact same price, okay. Well, now I'm spending X amount on gas. Now you just factor in some gas you got to pay. I mean, let's just stay in Dayton right now.
yeah. Well, I'm thinking about getting a whole new job that would be closer to where I'm currently staying. Yep. It's a bit of a process. Like I said, you know, the jobs that I'm currently looking at are in the 40 to 50 grand ballpark for yearly income.
Oh, I got you. I'm not trying to Dave Ramsey you right now. I'm just.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. No, Dave Ramsey's a great guy, actually. 110%. But you know, how old do you think I am?
22.
Very close. I'm 23, with 2 paid off cars, and I'm living on my own. So I'm not doing too bad. You know, I've managed the budgeting, and that's what's, yeah.
Big part right there. Yeah, you're doing fine, but now it's the point of what do I want to do next?
Yeah, and it's looking at the long haul. You know what I mean? If I'm constantly renting, it's like you're just throwing your money in an endless pit. Buying a home, it's you're throwing money in a pit, but it eventually it fills up, and then it's paid off. Yeah, then if all else fails, you could turn it into a rental property.
That's the thing too. Okay, well, then you get home and you're like, you know what, I want to join the Navy. Alright, well, I'm just going to rent this property out.
Yep, make money while you're living on base and rent. You know what I mean? Like it just makes. Because here's the other thing too: if you own that home, the Navy will still give you your basic housing allowance, even if you live on base and you have a home. You could exploit that.
Maybe you own the home for a year and you're like, you know what, this isn't for me, I'm going to join the Navy. Alright, well, now you own a home, you can get a tenant pay your income, you can have the Navy pay for your stuff as well. I mean, that's best case scenario. Now you're making money while you're working. Technically that's the real definition of making money usually. But that, I mean, you got options, it's just right now, but
Yeah, where we're at. Yeah.
you have to save up the money, or honestly, it hurt the ego a little bit and ask your mom. Or if you have a grandma, I'm on the same page. I hate asking my parents for money. The last thing I want to do, sometimes, and when you explain the situation of, hey, you got this pride inside, say, hey, this is what I got going on. Sometimes you gotta do that. But that's how I look at it too. Would your mom rather you be living paycheck to paycheck, driving 50 miles to work every day at your current place, or, you know, yeah, live paycheck to paycheck for a little bit, and then, end of the day, at least start having it all figured out with your property.
Well, I appreciate your time. I am a pretty busy guy, but I do appreciate your time.
Of course, man, no problem. I'll send you a text message with my contact information as well.
Got you. I'll stay in touch.
Perfect, man. If you got any questions moving forward, feel free to reach out to me.
Awesome.
Alright, take it easy, man.
So that, ladies and gentlemen, was one hell of a conversation, and I just allowed it to be on stream. I don't care. So, yeah, I mean, that's my business. You guys can judge me. I don't care what people think, you know. But in my opinion, though, I would still rather be poor and keep my dignity by not being like I don't know, like a OnlyFans content creator or like a fucking a sellout. You know what I mean? Like I'm the real article. I'm legitimate, man. You know, I don't bullshit. I don't pretend to be this glamorous bullshit. You know, I am the real article. Make no make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen. Not even a flexing thing either. I'm just. I only have a few things in this world, and immense wealth is not one of them. However, dignity, honor, courage, those are a few traits that I do possess. And to some degree, some financial intelligence. I feel like I have a decent intellectual capacity. Is anyone even watching the stream? No. So the crazy thing is, in my income bracket, the guy's saying anything in like the 100,000, anything like 106,000 to like 80,000 is like within my ballpark. At least like the 700 to 900 a month ratio. You know, obviously depends on a couple of factors. Obviously that I can calculate. So with that being said, buying a home, owning a home is not impossible necessarily. However, though, you're probably not gonna get a quality home with like the best amenities. You know, you might not get a garage, you might have street parking, you might be in a kind of goofy neighborhood where bullshit happens. You know, for me, I'm not a snob or an elitist or anything like that, you know, because as you guys know, I struggle in life, but something like my Camaro is like, it's not an asset necessarily, it's a liquid asset, right, because I could sell the Camaro and make some money for a down payment on a home, if I wanted to. The problem is I don't want to do that. I'd rather keep my Camaro. I worked so hard to get it, that just selling it to get a home, yes, you could eventually own another car like that, but the problem that I see, and it is a kind of like, not a jealousy point of view or a materialistic point of view, but some people don't get their dream cars until they're in their like late 50s or 60s, and I'm not trying to wait that fucking long to get to get my dream car when I already have a car that I like. It might not even be my dream car, but it's a car that I like. Obviously, it's my main vehicle, my favorite vehicle. You know, and at some point I'm thinking about getting into motorcycles as well, and those are liquid assets. Those sell like hotcakes on Facebook Marketplace. Really, if you sell them for the right price, you can get rid of them pretty quick. Yeah, there's a lot that really goes into. There's just a lot that goes into some stuff. Obviously, you know, my vast gun collection. Those are assets. Investing in precious metals and stocks, bonds, stuff like that. You know, to me, those are all decent options. They're not necessarily great options. Precious metals, yes, but they're probably the best option. Probably to some degree. I'm not going to say better than owning a home. Because there's just so much ways a home can really work in your favor. But yeah, I mean, like if I were to really stack money like that, if I got it like that, then yeah, I mean, then it's its own separate thing, right? But obviously, we're not there yet. It's in the moment, in the current moment. You know, yeah, I'm living in a one-bedroom apartment. I'm overpaying. If I'm only bringing home like 2,000 something bucks a month, I am like barely living off of anything. So, you know, I mean, the fact that I have guns and I have all these things, it's really nice, it's really awesome. But, you know, unfortunately, it's not really feasible to have expensive hobbies like that, if I'm being honest. And that can be very hard to be as honest. You getting everything figured out? That's kind of hard to say, really. Like I said, you know, that conversation with that realtor kind of went a couple different directions. You know, obviously, I was kind of looking for a broad answer of like, what's a good income to where you can reliably live. Here's the deal, right? They're trying to sell you the American dream. They're trying to sell you a home. Problem is when, well, you get the home and then you realize it's a lot more than what you can actually handle, and that's what causes bankruptcies and other things like that. I just don't want to make the same mistakes other people have made. I'm not saying buying a home is a mistake. It is probably one of the best investments, most important decisions you'll ever make in your entire life. And as a matter of fact, the sad and crazy part is some people, owning a home is out of reach for them financially and even on a practical level. And that could be due to a number of reasons. Um, Irresponsible spending, irresponsible money management, which is kind of the same thing, but like not properly diversifying your assets or your wealth. Obviously, you know, that could easily limit your abilities to expand your future. But, you know, I mean, again, it's personal choices. You know, everyone has to live the life that they want to live and how they want to live. And some people want to have it all, and they can't, and they dilute themselves into thinking they can, and so they do all these things to have everything that they want, so that they don't lose. I think people have a fear of losing. Problem is, it's nothing to be afraid about losing. You know what I mean? People treat losing like it's a bad thing. In actuality, losing is an opportunity to correct yourself. You know, and if people don't realize that, if people don't realize that losing is a learning opportunity, you know, like I'll give a prime example, right? The Mustang, I lost. You know, I spent $11,600 cash, like money in hand from the bank, with, you know, and it's not even, dude, when I thought like $11,000 cash, I thought I was gonna have like a briefcase of money. I had just like a couple like wads of money with some like money bands, right? That was it. There's just like a few of those, and that was it. Like $10,000 cash, when you hold it in your hand, it doesn't really feel like it would as you would imagined it. I'm not saying that I'm like spoiled or rich or anything like that, but I'm just saying like what I thought it would be was not what it was. And it went pretty quick. But then also like the Mustang, I don't have very much footage on it on YouTube. I think I still have like a YouTube Shorts with me like walking around the Mustang, me bitching about the Mustang, a few things like that. So there's definitely some photos on my Facebook floating around with the yellow Mustang. Now it's the cherry red Camaro. You know, I mean, like that's just such an awesome car. But you know, furthermore, you know, I guess. What legendary did you drop? Sentinel's medal. Okay. Garbage. Hot garbage.
Got it.
What do you call it? If I was hopeful and delusional, I would say I would try to get a girlfriend or some or like a living someone to live with me. You know, because then obviously, you know, if she only makes, say if I had a girlfriend and she had a part-time job, hypothetically speaking, right? And it's a hypothetical, so just bear with me. Say she only made 16 to 20 grand a year. Well, that's 16, 20 grand plus, say I make 40 grand. That's like 60 grand altogether. You know what I mean? That's enough money to be able to comfortably live realistically. And I hear these OnlyFans models on podcasts and stuff talk about what their baseline is or whatever delusional point of view they have. And I always find it absolutely absurd because like they're talking like multi-millions of dollars is the bare minimum, and it's like the percentage of people, not just men, but people with that money, which a majority of them are men, but the percentage of people with that kind of money is so low and so few and far between that finding one that you consider attractive with the traits that you desire is like trying to find like a specially rare Pokemon, like a, what do you call, like a shiny Pokemon in a game that Pokemon does not exist in. I don't fucking know how.
There's Brotherhood, then there's everything else.
What is the homemade shotgun? I've never used this. These barrels are too far apart. Psychopath. Only the psychopaths have billions because you have to have the kind of urge to. Yeah, I mean, like, I suppose you could say that's true. I mean, you know, billions of dollars, you know, millions, and then there's billion with a B. A billion with a B is quite insane. $1 billion is 1,000 million. Not 100 million, 1,000 million. Put that into perspective. Think about a trillion. That is 1,000 billion. Billion with a B. That's crazy work. Trillionaires, I'm not even sure if they're even a single individual rather than just like a financial family like the Rockefellers or like the Rothschilds or just, you know, you name it, right? Um, like JP Morgan, Rockefeller, you know, the rich people, right? The classical rich people. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, Henry Ford. Some people don't like Henry Ford. I think Henry Ford was the only cool one out of those elitists. Because, I mean, Henry Ford was based. And not only was he based, look at all the stuff he invented. Look how he changed the world with his inventions. Like the conveyor belts. He basically invented what do you call it? Not mass manufacturing, but mass producing, right? Um, you know, in a lot of ways, he changed a lot of the technology that was used to make cars, and so thus he can make better cars and faster. Think about Ford's contribution into World War II by assisting in making the B-25 Liberator, the bomber. That is pretty badass, right? And think about their contribution to cars in general, like the Mustang. Never before at that point in time was there a car like it with the kind of style and attitude of the Mustang. So every brand would have their version of the Mustang, you know, their pony car. So the Chevy would have the Camaro, Dodge would have, at the time, was a Charger, which was a two-door coupe, but now obviously the Charger is a four-door sedan. Kind of similar to how the Ford Maverick was like a sporty two-door car to a truck. You know what I mean? Like completely separate like vehicles, same names but separate vehicles. Like they're totally different. Henry Ford also basically invented not invented charcoal grilling, but like what we presume is charcoal grilling. Like grabbing your charcoal grill that you fold up, put in your car. Yeah, so when you bought a brand new like Ford Model T, he would basically give you a fold-up grill so that you could stop on the side of the road and make food.
No way I could pick this.
That, you know what I mean? That's badass, you know? 'Cause think about how that has affected the camping world and the outdoors, you know? Like, it truly changed everything, man. Everything became portable. Everything had unnecessary purpose and reason. But then again, also, you know, what else did Ford do? Ford beat Ferrari with the Ford GT, you know what I mean? It beat Ferrari at Le Mans. And that is impressive. That was a crazy feat because, you know, that was the first time an American race team competed in a European racing league. There was always the Ford Thunderbolt, you know, use the name Retard. That's crazy. But yeah, no, I mean, the most annoying thing that the realtor guy was suggesting was to ask my mom for help. Like, dude, what do I look like to you? What do you take me for? My mom doesn't even have money to even, like, she can barely support herself. I mean, I'm not talking shit about my mother, you know what I mean? Like, she's awesome. Like, if anyone can do what she can. My issue is, like, she's reaching that retirement age. She's working less, so she has less money than she did, say, 6 years ago. And obviously, you know, her health is becoming a serious issue, you know what I mean? She's missing her teeth. She smokes. She has all these, like, little health problems and stuff going on. No insurance. She has to pay out of pocket for everything. And in today's day and age, you guys can probably imagine it's not, you know, I grew up in a pretty broken house. Like, dude, growing up as me was very tough. I've just made the decision of moving not that long ago. I've been living on my own for just 2 years. There's still a lot of adulting and maturing and learning how to live, learning how to be an adult, learning what it means to successfully hold a job down for a long time. You know, there's a lot of accomplishments and goals and objectives and stuff that I need to complete before I can even consider really buying a house. It's ultimately, it's your business, it's your choice, it's a very personal choice. But in today's market, you know, I don't want to get stuck with something. It's a seller's market. It's always been a seller's market, but the buyer's market, I fear that day will never come. So it's just like the best time to get into a home is when you, like the guy said, when you can afford to. Right now, I can't even afford to make it, bro. Like, And, you know, my ass really should be out door dashing, but I've been up for over 24 hours. I just worked a first shift thing when I'm a second shift employee. I got to come back tomorrow at 12 o'clock because I'm doing a 12-hour shift. You know, like, I'm doing all these things. I'm not saying I can't make it, because I'm making it. Like, I'm scraping by. I'm surviving. But I'm thriving. I mean, seriously, I got my Ford Explorer paid off. I own a Camaro. I own my Ford Explorer. I own 23 firearms, all at the humble age of 23 years old. My HKG 36 and 22 LR was my 23rd gun. Now, guns I've owned that I've like traded or sold, I used to own a Glock 23, and I owned a Savage Axis and 6.5 Creedmoor, and the Glock 23s and 40 Smith & Wesson. But and I want to get another Glock 23 because I low-key miss having a 40, especially a compact 40. Awesome pistol, awesome pistol. But you know, I don't know. There's just a lot of not holes in the argument or anything like that, but it just seems like, you know, the only striving point is the distance that I drive,
First
which
mistake.
is crazy. But more importantly is just how much money I'm spending on gas and how much money I'm spending on all these other things. Because again, the whole getting the house closer to work might sound awesome, and it is, but I might not want to be working at my current job. I might want to advance career-wise. If I move closer to my job, that limits my career to that region, because the only advantage to being there is that I'm spending less money on gas. And I'm sorry, but saving like $160 a month on gas, like saving that money, it's only $160. That's like not even a quarter of my paycheck. So I mean, like, yeah, it's saving money, it's efficient, but at the same time, if better opportunities are much farther away, you know, I want to pursue it. I want to at least make 45. I at least want to make $39,000 to $45,000 a year minimum. Because I mean, you know, 40K a year, that's no joke. In 3 years, you've overall income. In 3 years, that's $120,000 overall, which is no feat. Well, not no feat, but that's like no small feat. You know what I mean? That's a pretty significant amount of money made within that time frame. And if you can diversify it and have it build equity in and of itself and build up interest and stuff like that, you know, you could really make that money stretch out in the long run, in the long haul, so that by the time that I do reach retirement age, I'm not in the situation my mom's in. I'm not talking shit about my mom, but I am saying that, like, she didn't prepare for her senior years. You know what I mean? And because of that, she's struggling very hard. I don't want to be in that same boat. My mom never had the luxury of saving. You know, my mom never had the luxury of having a lot of resources and having a large amount of intelligence. I'm not saying my mom's stupid, but she didn't think about her life choices. You know, when she turned 18, she came from a time where 18-year-olds can get a small studio apartment for nothing. You know, it was capable of happening. But, you know, her working at diners and doing cleaning on the side wasn't really enough for her to expand career-wise. She's always been a cleaning lady. So, only difference was, obviously over time, she ended up getting better clients that paid more. They had big, large homes, but it's a physically demanding job. And, you know, obviously she had to take years and years and years of perfecting that skill, building a good reputation, delivering a service that was not only guaranteed, but was quality enough for tip, quality enough for word of mouth, quality enough for people to throw extra jobs, like for instance dog sitting, babysitting, and other stuff like that, to add to the overall like income network. So, you know, it took her a long time to get to that point. So she moves, she loses all those connections and people, that network, that safety net. And unfortunately, that would be her complete economic collapse, because unfortunately she doesn't have any real marketable skills if she were to get into her own job, and she has to file her own taxes because she's her own employer. And like, like I said, I'm not gonna put my mom's business out there, but like, it's not easy being her. So I can't like judge that. I can't put her down for that, and I never will. I don't think, what disgusts me, what pisses me off, is people that think they're above honest work. That pisses me off, and I've known a few girls that are like that. I know a few girls that are like, I would never bust my ass, or vice versa. Like they're above honest work. That pisses me off. More than anything else. And it's not a sexist thing, it's not that I hate women, it's just that if a woman can't, I don't know, if a woman can't be capable of like sustaining a job or sustaining responsibilities or stuff like that, it doesn't irritate me, but it turns me off. It's a massive turn off to me. Like for instance, like Sandra, when I was seeing her, she tried to basically, she tried to income shame me, and by extension my mom, making us seem to be like we're peasants or whatever, like she's above us because you do OnlyFans. Because some weird guy pays like $600 to look at your feet pictures. Like you can't even make this shit up. Like honestly, I don't know. It irritates me, and it's like, don't hate the player, hate the game. It's like, dude, I hate the system that made the game possible. Like I genuinely hate all of it. It's bad. It's degeneracy. I'm sorry, guys, but I know it's a tangent, but I can't stand degeneracy, man. I don't even smoke weed, or I don't do drugs, I don't drink, I don't abuse alcohol, I don't get snappy with people, I don't rage bait people, I don't get any pleasure from any of those things. It's all bad, it's all degeneracy. And I don't want anything to do with any of that. I'm not saying I'm a goody-goody two-shoe, but I am saying that, like, I at least have, at the very least, standards. When it comes to that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And standards and expectations. And my expectations are that people should be genuine and real. And obviously, in this real world, people are a lot of things, real not being usually one of them. So when you do find someone that's genuine, someone that is real, someone that is honest, somebody that has integrity, somebody that does the right thing even though no one's there, somebody that is loyal to a set of ideals, beliefs, standards, morals, so somebody that has intellectual capacity, somebody that can formulate their own thoughts, somebody that can facilitate a conversation. Those are all valuable traits. So when you find someone like that, they're a diamond in the rough. And it's like the same thing, with the rich argument, to find a millionaire, or to find a billionaire rather, that you find attractive is just impossible. So to find a woman or a person, like for the male's perspective, to find a woman with all of these character traits and still being attractive is just very rare. It's not even feasible. You might not even be able to find that in your country. You might have to travel abroad to find that. But and that's crazy to do that, to say that, but I mean it's the truth. Um, it's not a sexist thing. It's not a racist thing. It's not a anything like that. Um, it's just I feel how I feel. You know, I feel like American women have a societal issue. Have societal problems, and I think part of the societal systemic issue or whatever you want to call it is OnlyFans. It is, you know, it's a lot of that stuff, you know, and it's bad. It's degeneracy, and it's even more so if the if the woman in question has a child. The way they all fucked up. Yeah. Oh no, guys, I've been up for over 24 hours. I think I'm ready to get some sleep.